me okay. Um, what is up? I thought we would chill out and hang out for a little bit. It's been a minute. It's been quite a minute actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, hi, hello. I'm firelotusthewitch for the people that do not know. Welcome back and/or welcome to my YouTube channel. Um, we're just gonna hang out and chill. Maybe draw some cards at some point in time. I don't know. Let's see how this goes. But hi, hello. What is up? What is up? What is up? I'm also having a reverse Uno right now, as I dropped something. We just had a turtle lay some eggs, a soft shell turtle, lay some eggs in our neighbor's yard, and luckily I did not have to rescue this one. But the crows are trying to get to the eggs to possibly eat them, so I just had to shush them away. Hello, and I did. It got too hot, the heat was too much, and I was like, you know what? I've let my hair grow out a while, but it's finally time for a change. So I just went ahead and zoop that all off. Hello, and at some point, once this purple fades, what I'm going to normally, or what I'm planning on doing is bleaching it, which is probably going to take a couple of tries, but bleaching it and then reapplying the purple, because I'm digging the purple. Or leave it blonde for a certain amount of time and then, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I'm it's counterproductive. It feels weird. Hello. Did you ever figure out who to go? No, I'm thinking it's my phone. Um, but I've tried cleaning my speaker out as much as hello. But I've tried, like, basically I have to get a can of air, and I'm hoping that will actually solve the issue. But until then, I'm either going to use this microphone and or headphones until I can fix it. I do know that it's primarily only on TikTok where the audio sucks and here on YouTube. Um, so yeah, I'm assuming it's something to do with my speaker. Hello, happy to see you. Yes, my partner's doing okay. So really quick, let me go ahead and talk about this and get that out of the way. Hello. Well, a few times here on YouTube, I've actually had to use the microphone because for some reason you couldn't hear me at all. But with my partner, we met with the surgeon because he finished chemo. And using the surgeon's words, the chemo worked as it was supposed to have worked. But there's still something specific that they won't really know if it's scar tissue or just tissue until they go in. But here's how that's gonna go. We saw the surgeon, and originally from that date of seeing them, we were going 3 weeks out, 1 to 2 weeks. He was gonna get a surgery. Well, the last time there was a hospital stint, he had something on his back pop up, and we went to a brain work plastic surgeon who did a horrible fucking job, but that's for another live. They basically had to cut it open and drain it. Well, the surgeon did not realize. I don't know why. I don't know if he just did not look in his system, the records, and actually see that it was deep. But anyways, he had to get that cut open, and then I've had to pack it. That's been an interesting experience. But that is almost completely healed. We go Monday to see the checkup for that. Once we get the all clear on that, we'll meet the surgeon, and I'm pretty sure within the next 2 weeks, he'll go into surgery. Now, here's the thing. That slightly changed a little bit. So they're going in and doing a full, I want to say it's a mastectomy, I think. Basically, they're taking all of this. But when they go in, they're also going to go up into here where the, brain is not working. Basically, they're going to go up in here. They're going to take one of them, and then they're going to add some dye and take some samples to make sure that it in itself... Yes, thank you, the lymph nodes. They're going to take one lymph node, and then they're going to insert dye in the other ones and the other area around that to make sure there's no cancer there. If there is cancer there, they're going to go back in, take that out, and then... Basically, if you get your lymph nodes taken out, one or all of them, I'm not for sure on that, it can cause other problems. So if that is the case, hopefully it's not, but if that is the case, he's going to go back after he properly heals from that. I don't know if this is going to be before radiation or after radiation, and they're going to have to do surgery on his arm to basically possibly prevent another issue from not having the lymph node. Um, and then, depending on how that goes, basically we'll finish everything out with radiation. But as it stands right now, he is doing good. He's slowly getting his energy back. His hair slowly starting to grow back. So yeah, honestly, right now at this point, he's tired of being cut open. But that's just because one day I'm gonna do a straight up just story time on all of this. But he's doing good, and thank you all so much for sending the energy and everything like that. But yeah, right now we're kind of in the waiting stage. But the surgeon wanted to make sure that there was no type of infection or anything like that before going in with the major surgery. So he's been on antibiotics, and then we've had to change and pack the wound, which again has been interesting, for the past 7 days, and then I took it out yesterday. I've changed it periodically every day, but yesterday was the first day where it did not need repacking. And for the people that don't know, when you get one of those procedures, they cut you open, and the type of cyst that he had, they had to go in and clean everything out. If not, it would just come back. But due to the fact that there's like technically it's about that big, but it's deep. They give you antibiotic packing that you have to pack in there. That way no infection can happen, but the body can basically heal from the inside out. Yeah, I said that right. Okay. But yeah, that's where that's going. But he's doing okay. Now we're just kind of chilling out here at the house until we meet with the head surgeon. So, but yeah, originally the main surgery was already supposed to happen, but that delayed it. And when the last time we talked to her, she said that depending on how that all goes, we'll basically be in within the next 1 to 2 weeks getting surgery. Okay, so let me catch up on these comments. Hello. Non-witchy question here. Currently on chemo and waiting for EDD benefits. Is it weekly or bi-weekly check? I don't actually know on that one. I want to say I honestly don't know. We didn't get EDD benefits. I will send you 2 positive energies and protection if that's okay with it. Yes, of course, and thank you so much. But yeah, that's also one of the reasons that I have not really been active online, because I've had to do things here and then make sure he's okay, and then just in general, I haven't had the energy. I never knew, and I never actually realized when people say when you turn 30, all types of shit happens. That's what it is. But since it's been a while, here are some new updates practice-wise. I am working with Lilith now. No, I did not seek her out. She sought me out, and I'm still processing that. But it's going very well. A lot of eureka moments happening. The 4 kittens that Mama had are doing very fucking well. I still have not broke them in yet, so basically they're just wild as shit. Not really wild, but if I walk outside, they run. Then, Anastasia had 2 kittens, but she lost one of them within the first 2 days of her having them, and then she had a solid white one, right? Out of the 2, there was a solid white one, and I honestly did not think it survived. Well, it did, and it is doing well as well. What objectives are you working with her with? Objectives. Some things I'll talk about, other things I want. Kind of to get a remodel in a weird way. A personal remodel on a metaphysical level, so like a spiritual level, but also a physical level as well. I didn't realize she was reaching out to me until time and time again certain things happened, and I made a video about it, and I did some divinations and a couple other things, and it was completely confirmed. So it's something that I never thought I would be doing. I never thought I'd be working with Lilith, just because I am me. As weird as that sounds, and I don't know a lot about Lilith besides the whole, the creation is the first creation of God. And then I've had some weird questions, because like my biggest question was like, wait, is she a goddess or is she an infernal? The answer is both. and or your preference. It's one or the other or both. But it's been very refreshing to work with her. She is very stern. I had one moment that I don't mind sharing where, and I know this is different because normally I'm very transparent with my practice, but this is deeper than that. But I had a moment where basically she kept telling me I needed to rest. And not just her, multiple other people around me. They're like, you need to rest or you're gonna burn yourself out. Which is ironic because in my readings that has been coming up a lot, don't burn yourself out. Well, I didn't listen because I'm a fucking Aries and I'm stubborn and I'm hard-headed. Well, let's just say she made me listen. I had a day where I could feel it coming, but I was like, fuck it, I can do this. I am God. I know that I'm not. And I kept pushing through, and about 7 o'clock that night, a fucking wall just came up, and nope, I was done. So I laid down, and I actually dreamed we had a meeting. Then basically she's like, next time you're gonna listen, aren't you? And I was like, yes, I am. So yeah, that's how that is. It's very weird though. I know I've told you to rest. LOL. Trust me, they will make you listen. Oh, trust me on that one. I'm definitely understanding that one a lot. I recommend the epics of Ganesha as well as Sorcerer Speaking of Grotis. Lilith is not just one of her myths. Okay. I need to write that down. What am I talking about? Thank you for that, and I definitely will. Oh, is it in here? Damn it! It's not in here. I also got a new book. If you were confused by that look, we went into Second Charles. Shit, it's probably been about a month ago now. I was so let down with Second and Charles's witchcraft section, which we're gonna talk about that. But I got like actual fantasy books to read outside of witchcraft. And then I had a mutual send me a book that they published, and I'm excited about it because it's a dark, gothic fantasy, basically in rural Appalachia, specifically around the Kentucky range. So I'm interested to follow along that with all the other reading that I'm also doing. A robin abandoned her nest by my front door. Is there a way to preserve the egg? Because I know it's not going to hatch. Yes, there actually is. What I would do, depending on how you're trying to preserve it, now if you're trying to actually preserve the egg and not necessarily the remaining of the egg, very, very delicately, you're going to puncture a tiny hole at the bottom of it, and I would suggest possibly getting a syringe to be able to suck it out versus, because it's obviously it's a different size than the actual thing. If you will, though, email me. As crazy as that sounds, email me, and I'll send you a couple of links on how to preserve things, even eggs, because I got in the habit of preserving things. I'm also bad at that because I also still have a couple of things in my freezer that I've got to get the alcohol to preserve. But those are... Some's going to be wet specimens. Others are going to be dried out / preserved. But I've got to get the things. Of course. And just label it like robin egg. And it'll do my memory to where I will be able to actually remember it. Oh my god. And of course, I picked the one pin that doesn't work. Luckily, I took after my mother, and my grandmother, and I am a pin hoarder. That had wax in it. As y'all can tell, I am completely out of practice of this. It feels good, though, going live. I was thinking about just going live on TikTok, but honestly, TikTok's getting on my nerves. There's a lot of energy there, which we're also going to talk about. Not TikTok, but some of the shit that's going on there. And one of the main things to that, and I'm eventually going to do a podcast on this. I finally mounted and framed the snakeskin I found in my grandma's house. Oh, that is awesome! Only a witch finds wax in their ink pens. Very true. Very, very true. So There's another creator in the original video that I made. I tagged him in it, but it's getting to the point now where like I don't even like, and I hate saying this because obviously not all witches or even witch communities are the same, but there's so much just fuckery going on. Like an amazing creator came up with an idea of creating a grimoire of witch talk people, right? Of witches on the app. And right after that, like 8 other people are now also doing the exact same thing. And the witch wars, the going back and forth, and it's infuriating. Um, Now y'all know me. I stay out of the drama. I am in my villain era, but I stay out of the drama. And there were 2 points, and I'm not going to name drop or any bullshit like that. There were 2 points where I was like, all right, fuck it. Maybe I was the childish one. So I reached out and I'm like, hey, so-and-so, this happened then. Here we are now. It went nowhere. Like, there was one particular person that a lot of people kept suggesting, like, yo, you need to have on your podcast. Well, I reached out to said person, and it was agreed upon. We were going to do it, and then all of a sudden they went MIA. So I don't understand as witches in the day and age that we're at, just like Penzak said in the episode where I interviewed him, the great blessing and the great curse. Both is the internet. We have social media at this point in time in history, you know, we have knowledge at our fingertips. And it actually, instead of coming together in unison and actually trying to create an actual, like, witchy community, we don't do anything. Yes, there are smaller communities that are eventually, but even the bigger communities, and this is probably where I'm going to get completely fucking canceled, but there's this unspoken thing in the witchy community where when you publish a book, it gives you some type of authority, and it drives me fucking crazy. There are certain creators on TikTok I will block. If they create a new account, I will block. Because I don't give a shit if you are 98 years old and you have lived through every historical event, or say you're 180 and you have lived through every historical event. How you represent yourself in the public eye versus how you make TikToks are 2 completely fucking different things. And normally, even in the South, like in the South, we're taught, respect your elders. I used to be that way. Now I'm not. I'll respect you I'll respect you all the time. But the one moment you disrespect me, you lose my respect. In order to get respect from me, it's got to be a level playing field. And it's the aspect of, oh, well, I'm whatever your age is, and I've got this title of books around me. What it reminds me of, and this is where I get canceled in the LGBT community, with the gay guys in Alabama, and I'm pretty sure it's not just in Alabama, but there was this thing, and I actually wrote a blog post about it at one point in time, where I was like, the great being alive and in the hookup age, where a lot of gay men, they didn't care about actually getting to know you. They didn't care about that. They wanted to have your name and put it on a little belt and just wear it as a trophy. And the same thing is in the witchy world. It's like, oh, well, I've got this book, this book, this book, this book, and this book, so that makes me inferior to you. Or, hello, that makes me better than you. And I'm like, no, the fuck it does not. If I wanted to, which one day I will write a book, not because I have to, because I want to, but I've spoken to what is most known in a lot of communities as elders, and I've also been disrespected by more elders than I have people younger than me or the same age as me. And it's because of that aspect. Now, Christopher Penzak is the perfect example of that not happening, because at first I was like, oh my God, I'm about to interview somebody that I have looked up to since I discovered their books. Their books, their teaching in those books basically helped me build the foundation of my practice that I have now. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to fuck this up. No, he was cool as fuck. Completely cool as fuck. But I've also talked to other people where that was not there. They didn't look at me as just a normal fucking person. They didn't look at me as firelotusthewitch. They looked at me as somebody younger who has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'm not an expert. I never claimed to be. But, and like, I've seen it time and time again in other communities, and those communities I am theoretically part of, where they're like, oh, well, they'll name drop, and I'm like, okay, whoop de fucking do. They've spoken, great. They've spoke at multiple things, great, good for them. You can have as much knowledge as can fit in your head, but the moment you look down on somebody else because you think they are better than you, or vice versa, is you lose all respect for me. I don't give a shit how many books you wrote. And we've seen this time and time again. You're going to tell me an elder in our community who is highly looked upon is going to make a video, sit in front of their phone and make a video and say, you know what? If you're buying candles from Dollar Tree, do better. Excuse the fuck out of me? You know what that says? And then the same person who started Candlegate also is going around pushing their own products. I'm sorry. Did I not leave the church for this exact same fucking reason? Because you picked up the great Bible, the great book, and you thought you could take those wise words and preach it better. The witchy community is turning into the church. And it's driving me fucking crazy. Because I will first admit I am wrong. My ego gets in the way a lot. I get that. My shadow work. But you're going to sit there and preach shadow work, shadow work, shadow work. But yet, you as an elder in the community, you can tell you've not done any fucking shadow work. But to sit there and tell somebody, oh, well, if your money magic's not working, you need to do better. Excuse the fuck out of me. I thought the last time we checked, and so many other witches have said it too, if you go into witchcraft only wanting to make money, unless you become a sellout, you're not going anywhere. Because the universe is not just going to hand you money. That's not the point of it. But that shows me where their true morals are. All they care about is making money. With me, the only amount of money that I make, besides services, things like that, or what I can say tips, because I've had some people just straight up, I've answered an email and they've shoot me $5. Didn't ask for it, they just did it as a tip because I'm using my time and energy. That's great. But no platform am I monetized on. I'm working on getting it here, yes. And TikTok, not TikTok, the podcast I was, but Spotify bought them out. And if y'all don't know, I used to push using Anchor. Anchor is no longer Spotify. Our Anchor is no longer Anchor. Anchor is now podcast for Spotify for podcasters. The difference is, back then with Anchor, it didn't matter how many plays you had. You still, in some way, shape, or form, you would start making money. It was literally a couple of cents at the dollar. But now, thanks to Spotify, the fucking pandemic, I swear, it always leads back to the pandemic. The pandemic is when all of these companies realized, oh, wait, we're letting you use all of this for free when we could have just been charging you this entire goddamn time. Huh. Drives me crazy. But I finally reached that eligibility for it, but I still have not actually got approved for actual sponsored ads through Spotify. I wonder why. None of my content is scheduled. I do not fit. Eventually it will get to that, but as of right now, it's not supposed to be that. I am giving knowledge, whether it's just me rambling into a microphone or not. It's still knowledge. It's advice. It's supposed to be free. Knowledge is supposed to be free. And the amount of times that I've seen people, and I'm not hating on them because, again, capitalism, money makes the world go round. But your books have been labeled cash grabs, and then you will cancel some, not y'all, but the internet, the witchy world, will drop a dime to cancel somebody, ruin their entire fucking careers, and they don't get that. Y'all do realize that when somebody creates a book, if there's problematic shit in there, you can still read the damn book and take the knowledge from it, but still know that what's problematic. And then you play into cancel culture and you're ready to completely rip somebody down for nothing. And yeah, I've made videos about it too, but I'm trying to stop. Now, I did recently make one, but that's just because I was trying to warn people, hey, you're about to get scammed. And somebody else pointed out, I didn't, but somebody else pointed out, and I tried to start a conversation about it, where if you're part of Witch Talk or you see any of the drama, a lot of these people that have been exposed recently about straight up ripping people off and scamming them, they're barely lived their own damn lives. They're very young. Now, with that, I do have to say something. I'm not saying that you cannot get a reading or you cannot. I'm not saying your age dictates what you can and cannot do. But if you're going to charge somebody $109 up to $1,000 in fucking products, as in services, readings, and stuff like that, why are you going to go to somebody who just graduated high school that is in that age range? So we're going to say 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Okay? I know damn well I was not selling services that young because I personally did not have my shit together. Again, we go back to the pandemic. The pandemic is where people realized, oh, well, fuck, I know how to read tarot cards. That does not mean you need to charge for it. It takes a lot to be able to keep up with this shit. And to just show this, one of the very first readings are sales that I did on a reading where I was offering them for $10. This is the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it goes on. I had about, at one point, the best sell I've ever done, which is around when all this shit happened with my partner, I grossed almost $1,000. All of that went to where it was supposed to go, right? I was so fucking overwhelmed where literally for about 3 weeks straight, I literally would wake up, have a cup of coffee, come in here, and just lock myself down for about 6 hours just doing straight up readings. It was fucking horrible. I loved it, but it was fucking exhausting. But that was what I had to do. And that's when I realized, okay, maybe the next time I ask for a sale, maybe not have that many people come in, which I will eventually do another sale like that. But for somebody that is literally still trying to figure their own goddamn life out, no. And the crazy thing is, some of the big witch talk creators were pushing these people to the point where they had to go back and apologize and be like, you know what? I should have checked my shit. Yeah, you should check your shit. And again, some people may hear this and they're like, oh, I'm not jealous. I love growing slowly. Because if I just pop the fuck off and become like insta viral overnight, I will be completely over the fuck whelmed. I like growing slowly. It annoys the fuck out of me sometimes, but at least I know if I do it slowly, the foundation that I have to eventually, when I get to the point to publish a book, offer more services, get way more professional, I'll be able to. But I also know right now at this point in time, I don't have that. It's ridiculous. I rarely trust videos on TikTok messages because it's hard to tell who's being authentic. Exactly. That's why we say triple check. Exactly. Triple check your shit. Now, a lot of people, I know some people won't come to me because I do it via email. But that's because I don't have the shit that I need right now, which is perfectly okay, to have a website and all this other shit. But the one thing I can say is I have a lot of people who have reviewed my readings. Am I saying every single reading that I give is going to be legit? It's going to be legit. Is it going to hit that right spot? No. I've had one person, they completely did not, I've had multiple people not message me back, but this person hit me up a few months later, and they're like, your reading wrecked the fuck out of me. It did so many things to me that it was not supposed to do. And then we talked. And I'm like, okay, well, why was this? Like, why do you think you got that type of reaction from it? And at the very end of it, they're like, oh, okay. That's why I tell people, do not come to me. I'm not going to tell you everything you read. But again, I've had plenty of readings where they're like, yeah, no, that did not resonate. I've also had readings where people came back to me a few weeks later and they're like, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Again, I don't predict the future. I never do. But what I can do is give advice. Yes, I just self-promoted myself, but hey, I'm getting better at it. But no, it's the point of, you can tell, like y'all said, you can tell when somebody's authentic, and you can tell when somebody's just trying to make money. But some of the shit that I've read in Facebook groups where this person exchanged payments twice with this person to do workings, and then this person is going to message them and be like, oh yeah, well, that app or that payment method no longer works. You just received 2 payments from me in a 3-month period, but you're going to tell me it doesn't work now. Bullshit. Bullshit. I have the same annual client for 10 plus years for believing in my ability to read and help grow. It's where I'm ready to offer services. And I'm in my 30s. See, I love that. I love that. And again, Like, and a lot of people, I've had a person ask, they're like, "You're going through so much, Lotus. How the fuck do you do this?" It's because when I do services, when I read people or when I do workings for them, that's my break. That is my break from my own reality because it's doing something that I love. It's doing something that one goddamn thing that I'm actually good at. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm dyslexic. I've got a lot of mental shenanigans up here. So like working a 9 to 5, not gonna work for me. Going to college, not gonna work for me. But you know what? That's okay. I know this. I knew this from a very young age. So for me to be able to actually use something that I was actually born with, yes. But it's just growing. And you will definitely get there. And when you do, let me know because I'm gonna be shouting you the fuck out. Which I've said before on TikTok. There are so many people that get overlooked when it comes to services because they don't have the flashy aesthetic and all this other shit. And I'm so over it. But I'm not gonna leave. I can't leave. And that's the other thing that sucks. TikTok has everybody in a chokehold to where if you're a content creator, YouTube is no longer where it's at. It's no longer doing it. Even major YouTubers that don't even go over witchcraft stuff, they've even went to TikTok. The problem is with TikTok, you've either got to cause drama, you've got to stir the pot, you've got to look the part, you've got to completely throw all of your morals out. Because if I wanted to, I could easily create a second profile and just do nothing but light language. But am I? No. Why? Because I'm not going to push a very, very racist ass rhetoric that is also linked with genocide and all different types of shit. That's not me. I also know Reiki is real, but this whole shit right here. So you're telling me one person, one organic person is going to be able to just do this with everybody's energy and heal them up to 10 million people. That's bullshit. I don't care who you are. That's bullshit. I saw a video of a psychic in the UK, right? And apparently they have some type of degree, you know. And again, everybody's going to set their price to whatever they're going to set them to, right? 1,049 or 100,000, basically it was like $1,000 and 49 pounds. And they started their video off with, well, I think I'm going to try to get it normal for psychics to charge a lot for a reading because it's my time and energy. Okay, you go ahead and do that. And basically you get 45 minutes with them and then you get 3 days of assistance using the WhatsApp app. Show me how many people can afford that. It's the same thing when you see people, oh, you need money? Pay me $100 and I'll let you win the lottery. If I had $100 to pay you, I wouldn't be coming to you to be doing the spell to get me more money. It doesn't make sense. And yes, with me, and I'll tell anybody who is trying to calculate, it's like an artist who's trying to calculate your prices for your services, it is going to drive you mad. And this is why. For one, you got to have confidence in what you say. For two, you're either going to go really high or really low. Don't go really low because apparently that's bad unless it's a sale. It's very fucking confusing and none of it makes sense. And I've tested this with my prices because if y'all realize my prices have slowly went up, right? And there is going to be like a mark-off date or like a mark-off price. But when I was only doing readings for like $10, $20, I'd get a few. But when I noted, when I went to, I think it was 35 and then I dropped them down to 10, I got a huge influx to come in. And then as soon as I went back to 35, they kind of died down. But it's also seasonal. Income tax, obviously that's going to be when people actually do have the excess money. But that's also why I work with people. I have payment methods. And it's probably going to fuck me over one day, but I trust people. And I've realized that for one, no, I'm not doing this for just the money. It helps because it's the way that we're surviving right now. So any amount, it's helping us either pay bills, you know, the necessities, right? And that's what I've been struggling with the most is keeping myself authentic because like I've said before, The person y'all see right now, if you were to meet me in person, besides me being extremely painfully, awkwardly quiet, I'm the same fucking person. And that's because I don't have the energy to be somebody I'm not. I barely have the energy to be who I am now. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. I need to get business cards. That's another hassle in itself. It's stupid because two people can charge the same amount and people say it's fair price. Yes, exactly. It's like two, and I'm like, and that's why, like Brewitch said, if you're not on TikTok, they're an amazing creator. They made a video and they're like, when it comes to readings, and not only readings, when it comes to baneful workings and things like that, if you get workings and they go the way you're supposed to, make a video. Now, when we mean that, we don't mean, for one, if you're not comfortable in making videos, you don't have to be in front of the camera talking to it. Obviously, just because you're showing your face, that does have more credit, but I also know people have jobs, and if they're linked to that, it's gonna, I get that. You can easily, though, be like, yo, create a video where it's just looking at a tree and putting this. Because what winds up happening is, like on mine, I have that long playlist of people that have done it on Facebook. I'm almost at 90 views. And except for like 4 fake scammers that, come here and say, oh, go to this person. They brought my husband back. Besides them, they're all 5-star. And that helps with people who may not be into this. And they want a reading and they're very hesitant because there are so many scam artists. So in real life or just in general, that's what if you ever got any services from me, I say the same thing, especially with my readings. I always end the email with like, thank you for coming to me for some insight. Either leave a review on my Facebook. If you if you record videos, do that. If not, you come across anybody, send them my way. And especially in Hoodoo and Southern Conjure, and even still to this day, that's actually how it's done. They don't advertise. They do not publicly advertise. They just do it word through mouth. And I've gotten a lot of loyal people that will straight up come to me. And I also have a list of people who all they want is advice. And I love it because there are so many times I've been asked questions that I myself would never have thought of. And I'm like, well, fuck, that's actually a really good question. There was one of them, I did a spiritual advisory session. So basically it's just like this, but just one-on-one. And yes, I'm smoking a cigarette, but the door is open. And the windows are open. And I have it inset lit. They're like, so I have a question. And I'm like, all right. And they're like, when you have those intrusive thoughts, where did they go? And I'm like, huh? And they're like, so, like, in general, if you were to do, like, a banishing of your negative thoughts, those thoughts are still there, though. So, like, where do they go? And I'm like, well, fuck. We were talking about smoky quartz can be programmed to filter out those thoughts so it doesn't manifest. And I know a lot of people hate to hear this, but if you have depression and things like that you're naturally born with, 9 times out of 10, you also have the ability to just manifest. I hate using that fucking term, but basically, you have the psychic ability of, the best way that I can say this is you'll randomly be in a conversation with somebody, like say you're a family member or a friend, and you're like, hey, you know what? We haven't seen Bob in fucking forever. Where is Bob? 5 minutes after that conversation, Bob just walks in. That's manifestation. That's basically randomly thinking of something, saying it, and then boom, it playing out. It's also intuition. But people with depression or things like that, we have the ability just naturally to be able to bring things to us because our bodies naturally lack shit, chemically naturally lack shit. So therefore, if we really need something or really want something, hell or high water, somehow it always works out. It's manifestation, and I hate using that term because it's been used so much fucking times. It's like the people, it's like, oh, well, I just set my water out and I just set the intention. Do you honestly think all of those fucking gurus on TikTok and YouTube and all this other shit, that's all they did was just set their intentions? I'm gonna set my intention that in 3 years I'm gonna have a fucking house. But if I just sit on my ass setting my intentions, that shit's not happening. But if you set your intentions and then do work, whether that's physical, spiritual, what spell work, you're 10 times more likely to get that. To a degree. In this economy, I'm not getting a house anytime soon. I'll get a tiny house. There we go. did that by accident all the time. My town now has a smoke shop. I swear it's because I was talking about it. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love when shit like that happens. Here's a funny story, stoner story too. Um, and it sounds so stupid, but I swear to God, it pissed me off so much. So, uh, I was chilling out with a family member who was renting a hotel, and we were, and fucking, they had fixed a cup of cereal, right? And the cereal had just sat there and got soggy, and he threw it out. And my high ass did the same thing, but I just scooped the wet cereal out, threw that away, and then I just started drinking the milk. And I stopped. I did an entire fucking presentation on this shit too, high as shit. And I was like, cereal milk. Those times you want something sweet like cereal, but you don't necessarily want the sogginess and anything like that. Cereal milk. He looked at me like I was fucking crazy. I told multiple other people this. They all looked at me like I was fucking crazy. About 6 months to a year later, I'm scrolling through cable, and I land on the Travel Channel when they go to, like, all these top-tier restaurants. A fucking chef in New York is selling this shit, selling a cup of it. Back then, I think it was, like, $50, and he does the same damn thing. He will go to a grocery store. He will buy Kellogg's cereal. He will let it sit in milk with a fucking strainer and strain it out and then repurpose it and sell it. And I'm like, the amount of ideas that I've had. Another one was the Disney Channel Wizards of Waverly Place. I was high as shit again. And I was home alone. I was cooking in the kitchen. And my mom came in, and I was like, this is when I just started getting into witchcraft, and I'd recently came out to my mom. So I was like 13. And I was like, I wish Disney would come up with like a family-neared show involving magic. Shit you not, 6 months later, Wizards of Waverly Place came out. Now, is that manifestation? I don't know. Is that intuition? I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But I need to get a book and just start jotting this shit down. And I don't know what I'm going to do with those ideas, but it's something. Hey, I'm not going to lie. When it boils down to the simplest bits, it's all energy manipulation. Exactly, and that's one thing, because I recently, and I feel so bad when people comment this, but they're like, every time I mention a sweetening jar, or, yeah, on TikTok, I'll say sweetening, because apparently they don't like the term honey jar. But a honey jar, they're like, well, can you do a tutorial, a tutorial? And I'm like, no. And I'm not gatekeeping. I still have not, and if you join my first class that I ever did, getting somebody to understand energy manipulation is extremely difficult because we all experience energy differently. And I remember all before social medias, one of my good friends, we're no longer friends now, so I guess it was a friendship for the seasons. But I actually do still have a painting she gave me that's hung up right next to my altar. It always goes near my altar. Her name was Amber, and I will never forget the day that we met. And so, Amber, if you see this, hi. If not, then, yeah. But, my grandmother's at a hospital. We went to visit her. We came back, and we stopped at this Subway. And there was this girl in there, and this was back when I was still kind of, which something happened. Never mind. Anyway, sexuality-wise, I was kind of pans, like I am now. Or back then, I think I used to call myself bi, right? And somebody in our family's girlfriend, mother, daughter, we're not getting into that conversation. Basically, she worked there, and I met Amber. And this was the prettiest girl I have ever fucking seen. And she was technically older than I was, I believe. Yeah, no. She was a year younger than I was. And I think I was like 18 at this point. Anyways, she was about to graduate high school too. And she was just gorgeous, right? And she came up to me and she was fucking pagan. She had the triquetragram tattooed on the back of her neck. And I was blown away because I wear this everywhere I go. So I was like blown away. And She came over one day because her friends set her up as a joke and it was horrible. But anyways, we became really good friends. Eventually, I actually lived with her at one point in time. Um, Brain, where the fuck were you going with this conversation? She wanted me to teach her energy manipulation. So we went down to a bridge slash creek slash river that we used to hang out at. And we had all the elements. We built a small fire, and I was literally trying to get her to like feel the energetic presence of water by getting her to stick her hand in running water. And it just was not clicking. And I forgot what happened. We wasn't even trying to do it, but I think it was her sticking her hand out the window or something. Something that we were not planning on. It clicked in her, and she goes, "That's what you're talking about." And I'm like, "Yes, that's what I'm talking about." And it wasn't fast forward to TikTok. It wasn't until I realized that not everybody visualizes. So therefore, the way that we're using the words that we're using to describe these things are no longer up to date. And me and Christopher, we talked about that in the episode where when somebody uses the term visualization to me and to them, it sounds like we're talking about, like from Star Wars, an actual like projector, right? Like a 3D rendition of the projection. And it's not. It's sensing it. But some people sense with their mind's eye. Some people sense with just their emotions. And that was when it clicked in my head, and I was like, oh. And that ties back to the fucking whole superior witch shit. There was somebody, Candlegate, they mentioned that they have a class, and I always tell people that you need to study these things for a year and a day. I know it's Wiccan, but it's a great time length, right? And they're like, oh, well, what you can learn in a year and a day, I can teach you in 6 months. No, the fuck you cannot. Unless you're going to straight up download it in somebody's brain. No, you cannot, because we don't all learn the same. So, like, with me, if I have a teacher, I need the person to act. Normally, with me, I'm a learner, visual learner. So, normally, if you walk me through something a few times, as long as my ADHD and fucking anxiety doesn't get in the way, I'm good. But it also has to hold my interest. So if your class is like me going to college, sitting down for a college lecture, I ain't gonna know shit by the end of it. My husband and I will talk about songs or movies, and then a day or two later, it comes up on the radio. Yes! Hello, hello, and yes, happy full moon, everybody. What is that? What is this? What is this? What is this? Oh, okay. Oh. I never realized how weird my anxiety was until then, where I'm live and I'll get a message and I'm like, oh my God. Um, but yeah, no, we all learn differently. And I never understood that until now. I mean, school and everything. Nope, it's different for everyone. I tend to learn by doing more than studying something. Exactly. And that's one of the biggest reasons I haven't just sat down and wrote a book, because that's what I'm struggling with the most. And that's one of the reasons I haven't had a second class yet, is because I have issues getting the knowledge that I have in my head down on like constructual thing where not just one person but multiple people watching it can understand it. And because to me it's something that comes natural. It's And I'm not saying I'm a natural witch, by God, no, I'm not. I mean, technically we all are, but no, it's something that it's like breathing. You don't have to think about breathing. With me, I don't have to think about it. It happens. And what's weird about me saying that was I had a roommate, rest in peace, Alex. Um, he introduced me to vampirism, psychic vampirism, because the longest time I thought I was one, and I still could even be one. I don't know. But um, they mentioned that, and I'm like, what? I don't now I understand it. But it's weird. It drives me crazy when someone's like, "Oh, join this curse and or join this course in 30 days." You're Nope, stop. No, maybe 90, but not 30. Okay, if I did not do well in school, I guarantee you. But me and my partner and one of our ex roommates who was a witch who had that. They had a coven, but outside the coven, they met at the Universal Church in Gainesville, and they held classes. So I was like, all right, fuck it, let's go. Me and my partner both had the exact same expression when we were in there because that particular teacher, our roommate, literally broke this shit down like we were at a fucking, like he was a college professor. And I'm like, I could take notes all day long. It's not going to help because what the fuck is this? So, but with the psychic vampire thing, they said the same thing. Alex, my roommate, was like, it's like breathing without having to breathing. You don't have to tell yourself to breathe. You just do it. And when they told me that, I'm like, huh? Now I understand that. Magic is just something that most of the time, the biggest problem that I've seen people have is they overthink or they doubt themselves. Um, and there is no easy fix for that. It takes time to build that confidence up. Black Obsidian repels psychic. That is actually to date, besides the Olympus video, that is one of the all-time like top things of my videos. But it drives me crazy. Like, oh, it repel. Shut the. Okay, hold that thought. I gotta replenish this. But and then I'm. You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna draw some cards. I don't know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna do it. Hey. Hey, babe. I love you. No, I love you. You semi said it right that time. Okay, let me open this. Ah! There we go. Florida heat, you're really pissing me off. Okay, I'm back. I didn't miss anything, did I? But yeah, it's going good. And one thing I did forget that I'm slowly working on, I gotta manifest my partner a new phone. His screen is like, you can't see my hand. Okay, from like here, going down to like right in here, all of that pressure wise, like, you know when you break a screen and it's like just black, like the pressure of it, it happened to his phone. So I'm slowly manifesting him a new phone or a updated phone that way, because when he scrolls through TikTok, he sees up here, like up here, and then he sees down here, and that's it. Everything else is just a black screen. And I feel so bad because right now, besides him playing his game, he can't really do anything. He's got a hole in his back. So it. But yeah, he had the phone for a year. I know this is random, but when I walked in there, it reminded me of it. Um, he's had the phone. We've had the phone for a year. He got the same phone, or he got his phone when I updated mine, or vice versa. And when he was landscaping and everything like that, he got like just like mine. My screen's cracked like down here at the bottom. And he was going. It was the fucking day of the interview with Christopher. Christopher Pinzak, that day, I didn't go in with him to his last chemo treatment because I had the interview and he would not allow me to. He's like, no, you're staying here and you're doing it. But he was using the bathroom and it fell out of his pocket and went black. So I'm trying to figure out every single possible way that I can manifest him fixing it, because the family plan we're on, if we were to take it into them, it would just have to straight out, we'd have to re-buy him a phone. We're not necessarily wanting to do that because he doesn't want to lose that number because it's going to fuck up everything else. The original idea, his father possibly is going to be buying him a phone. I'm not for sure on that. But basically, the original idea was I was going to trade in my phone because I'm due for a trade-in, basically. And then I was going to give him this phone. And then, yeah. And then eventually, when he got a better phone, I was going to keep this phone as content creating, and then my other phone was just going to be my normal fucking phone. But life has had other options, but he's a good sport about it. It drives me crazy, and I've offered my phone to him, and I'm like, here, and he's like, you can't do that. You have content to make. So it's driving me crazy. And when I walked in there, I saw him, and I'm just because I can't fix it. And normally I'm the one with the fucked up phone. So it's a dynamic change. I did want to do a small shout out though from a live that I was in on TikTok. Um, I will possibly be meeting a local witch. And the reason that is, the main reason is because we were talking about photography. If anybody did not know, hi, I'm Fire Lotus and I do photography. If you click my link tree, you can scroll down. It's called ViewBug. And for any photographers out there, ViewBug, it's a free site to use. Not only can you use it as a portfolio, so you can just upload phone. You can also do it from your phone, so you do not need a computer. But you can upload photos and like tag them, and people view them. And eventually you can get into the point where like if somebody requests a actual print of it, the website handles most of it. But you can also enter free competitions. Some of them you do have to kind of pay, but a lot of them are free and you can win things. But I like using the website just because it is straight up a portfolio of some of the best photography that I've done. And the crazy thing is, some of the best photography that I've done is literally my phone. Specifically an iPhone, which I still have. I just have to get the screen fixed. But I love it because it gets me outside, and I've always had an eye for photography. I don't really do like modeling. I'm getting into that. I primarily do just landscapes, and they mentioned they're like, "Hey, I would love for you to do a photo shoot of me," and I'm like, "I would love to, but I don't have a camera." That's going to change. And a couple other things. I'm gonna do a small video on that, but yeah, and it's exciting because I'm gonna finally get back into photography because I have a camera, but it's fucked up. It's an older camera. It's a digital camera. It's older, but the little clip to where the batteries go into it, it's fucked up, so it won't actually like close. I've taped it and everything like that, but yeah, photography is something, and if you have never gotten into photography, I'm telling you, some people will argue that you need an eye for it, but it's like art, you don't. You will find your style to it. With me, I love landscapes, as in just straight up nature. Um, but to me, it's a way I'll put in headphones, put on a podcast or specifically music, and I can literally, good evening, I can literally spend hours just straight up taking photos. And the reason that I love it is the same reason I love art. It's something that I can do to express myself, but it's in the eye of the beholder. So like my abstract art, I know exactly how I felt while I was putting it down on canvas. I know exactly how I felt and or the emotion that inspired me to take that one photo, but another person can view that photo and feel something completely different. So it became a therapy for me. It was a way that I didn't have to sit down and talk to somebody, and I could just show the world, hey, like this. And eventually I will eventually create a book. That's been my all-time dream since I was 11, was I would create a photography book. It's going to be fantasy style, as in like Lord of the Rings, as in landscape wise. So it's going to look all fantasy like, as in you see and I have a few, like I said, I have pictures on ViewBug, but some of them it literally looks like you could just walk into a magical portal, but in reality it's just how the trees grew, and it's really cool. And again, I like it because there is no right or wrong way. And yeah, that's going to slightly change very soon, and I cannot express how excited I am, because I'm also hoping that through being able to do photography again, it'll also get me back into art. And witchcraft, art, and photography is literally what got me through my teenage years, and music and weed. So if you ever want to summon me, photography, weed, music, art, and witchcraft. Just put that shit in a circle and boom. But no, seriously, it's straight up. It was a way that I could scream without actually visibly screaming. It was a way that I could work through my own emotions without actually having to sit down and talk to somebody about it. Painting's the same way. Although, I can state from prior experience, if you do have that manifestation thing, watch painting. one of the very, very first paintings that I ever sold, it was for $10. It was a very, very witchcraft music coffee. That's my summoning trio. um, but it was a very violet, as in it looked like there was blood splattered everywhere. And through my old roommate, I met this one woman. She changed my life for a very short period of time. But she actually bought one from me. And originally, she had it hung up in her living room. And then she had to slightly change that because when people got around it, the energy of that painting kind of wore off on them, and they would get a little snippy and angry, especially if alcohol was involved. So she's like, they moved from an apartment to a house, and she's like, I have it. It's in our bedroom, but it's no longer in the living room. And she's like, you really can paint some feelings into things. And I was like, thank you, but you straight up can. So and again, if you've been thinking about doing art, Dollar General, their art section, if they would have had that shit when I was like fucking 8, 9, 10, I would probably be a well-established artist right now, because they have shit that I could not get in my wildest dreams when I was younger. Polymer clay, wood burning, fucking you name it, they basically have it. And it's cheap. But it also, it does its job. Especially the polymer clay. Hello. Poetry if you need 4, just saying. Oh, one day we're gonna have to share poems. I also write poems. Although, fair warning, I actually still have a poetry. I have one poem that I recently wrote on my phone that I actually... eventually I'm going to do a TikTok video, only because I asked, hey, if I share this. But my other shit's dark as fuck. Hello, do you know if you could say hi to me, it would make my day. Hello! I hope you're having a good day as well. In my teen years, heavy metal got me through a lot with physical activity. I write as well, and writing got me through. I second you. My link to all my poetry. Count later. Oh my god, yes, please. And hello. Yes, I feel like that type of magic. Also, I feel my energy going to trying when I'm crafting sometimes. Yes, crafting does it too. And to me, everything that we're talking about, the writing, the music, all of that, crafting, painting, artist, it is our craft. Because it's something, it's the term of meditation that everybody uses. It in itself is a meditation. We do not have to think, or we can think deeply, but we're also still creating something. And I went through a lot of trauma when I was younger. So for me to be able to have that power to create something from nothing, or create something that some people call trash, be able to do that, upcycle that, and create something entirely new, it's literally the gift of God, because it makes you feel like a god. Okay, not necessarily, but you get what I'm saying. I put good energy into the essential oil rollers I make for friends and family. Yes, see, I love that. Also, if you're Southern, you're always told this, and if you're not, I'm telling you now as your Southern friend, the same applies to cooking. So if you got house guests over and you don't fucking want them there, but you can't just kick them out, cook that emotion into that food. It works. Trust me, it works. And hello, I hope you saw that. Hello. I like people. Blah, 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 blah. Apparently, I like getting tongue-tied. Ooh. I like making people's day. There we go. All right, let's see. Let me smoke this really quick. Also, holy shit, there's a conversation to have. So, YouTuber, TikToker, Facebook, you can find them on everything. Conjure Kadia. I hope I said that right. Conjure Kadia. Made a video the other day, and so when they have their TikTok comments cut off, but I've learned so much from them. Their YouTube is like mine, but way more organized, where they have so many tutorial videos and like just straight up where they're sitting down just answering questions. Not to mention their website, over 1,000 items, amazing. I personally have some of the oils and the incense. They're amazing. Amazing. Anyways, they made a video and they're like, hey, if your honey jars do not have the spark that they need, here's something that can easily change it. Obviously, y'all are also going to know this goes to everything else, but they're just using that as an example. And they're like, cigarettes. Although I straight up thought she was holding a blunt in the video, but she wasn't. Apparently, it was a cigar. My brain was like, oh yeah, I know what that is. But apparently, I'm assuming this is either on their Facebook or their Instagram. Because like I said, their TikTok account, they have their comments cut off due to the fact of when you go visit their profile, you'll understand what why their comments are cut off, especially on TikTok. But so many people were like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to poison my lungs. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? She even stated in the video, you're not inhaling it. Yes, probably a small amount is. But in general, you're not inhaling it. You're taking it in and then blowing it. And you don't even have to do that. You can get a cigar or a cigarette, light it with a torch, and put it as like an incense holder to burn it. It's not for you. It is for the ancestors. You can also get loose leaf tobacco and just straight up burn that like a charcoal thing. You're pocketing, basically. Exactly. The amount of hate that they got for that, and I'm switching between they and she because nowadays, no matter your pronouns, normally I'll just refer to like she. Exactly. Use it just like an herbal blender. And I have. There have been people, my partner, the first time I did it, I have this candle holder that was gifted to me, and in the middle of it, it's got a spike in it. So the candle, right? But it's perfect for things like this because I can light it and just pluck it there and it's still getting airflow. My partner walked in from work one night and he goes, did they want a cigarette? And I said, yes, exactly. They wanted a cigarette. But you're not inhaling it. Now, obviously, like I said, I understand if you have kids, if you have, you can even sprinkle it. You don't necessarily have to light it. But for the example that they were using, you open the honey jar and you blow the smoke in. That also leads to another conversation. Conjugadillas. Yes! Oh my god, they are. Oh, they have taught me so much. One day I will interview them, but they intimidate the hell out of me of just how very professional they are, which I respect. But, oh my god. Huh. With honey jars, there's something I wanted to talk about. So, a lot of people, if you were to Google honey jar, the nine times out of 9, you're going to get love spells. They are not only for love spells, but historically, especially in the hoodoo aspect or conjure aspect, we're going to start using conjure instead of hoodoo. In the conjure aspect, they are primarily for love. Because think about it, way back in the day, now when I say way back in the day, I also mean that because there was a specific time frame where there were mail-in-order catalogs that you could find at the back of magazines. Here's something to age everybody. What was it called? Remember those fucking books? It was like Craigslist before Craigslist, and I cannot think of the name, but I can see the image. Way back in the day, not really, but back in the day, in the early 90s, and up until the mid-2000s, there was a book that you could get at a gas station, and that was basically where you listed buy, sell, and trade stuff at. But in certain magazines, they also, at the back of it, they had to where you could order conjure things. That's also how hoodoo survived and gained popularity, was because it was something that was advertised. That's one of the reasons in hoodoo and conjure, you can see where they have like perfumes and colognes. That's why. Exactly. Okay, I'm glad y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't remember what it's called either, but I remember it so much. And I was so upset when they just like retired it. But they were mail in order. The last time I went to my garden in a bad mood, that plant I touched died. Oh yeah, we can project that, and plants are extremely sensitive to it. But anyways, with honey jars, a lot of the times you will see people online seal them with the wax. Here's the reason that is. For me, and I'm randomly going to grab one, for me, I do not. And the reason is because I like to physically refill them. That is, popping the top, tobacco, normally I'll add honey, sugar, anything sweet to it. But when you are going to make the honey jar, Um, say you're making it right now, right? All the actual herbs that you're going to use, you are going to put a little bit of them aside. And normally, what a lot of people like to do is they'll grind that up and they will fix candles to burn on top of it, which is the feeding. So the herbs that went into that candle are into the honey jar are also basically fixed on that candle. So every full moon or new moon or whatever time frame you have, you'll burn that candle on top of it. Obviously, if it's like these, let me see. If it's like these right here with the plastic one, I would not suggest burning candles on top of it. But in general, they like to seal them. I like the idea to it, but I'm ADHD and I always change shit. So I wind up, yeah. But you can make honey jars for other things. Know that A, you are not going to win the lottery. It is not for winning the lottery. You got to look at it like a mojo bag, as in you have to take care of it and feed it. The more you feed it, the more you take care of it, the more it sweetens things. But you can also tweak that, like I do, to where it also has manifestation capabilities to where it's like a magnet. So not only is it sweetening this, it's also attracting it to you as well. Clay Electric and Florida still does there in the yes. Oh my God, yes they do. I also hate fucking Clay Electric, but that's for a different story. Yes they do, and I'm so upset too because Alabama. There's a company in Alabama, a power company that does the same thing, and some of the recipes they have in them. Oh my God. Here in Florida though, I haven't really been seeing that. I'm kind of. At least one answer said fuck them kids. Do you do any rituals on the full moon or new moon? Yes, I do. Well, it depends on your definition of ritual. Um, and everyone is different. The one thing I do is all of the honey jars, they get fed, whether that is personal or client ones. And all of the community candles, which I think I still have 3 of them that I'm still burning, they wind up getting burned. Here soon, but not now. Normally, if you were to come to me for a magical working, normally you get. Why is it every? Oh, okay, I was about to say, why is it every single time I need something it's not there? Normally, if you come to me for a working, you'll get these size candles. Depending on your working, it's either 1, 3, 4, whatever. You'll get these, and I'll burn them. Here soon, instead of this, you'll also have a 7-day candle option. It's just Dollar Tree and Dollar General does not always keep their candles like that, and they went up in the price. Normally, you can buy one of their 7-day candles for like $1, and now it's like $1.79. And yes, there are some workings that I'll do, but the reason that I don't necessarily stick to that is because, for one, the sun, very powerful, but due to my ADHD and my anxiety and possibly OCD-ness, I got into a habit of where I only did workings then. And one of those moments where I just got everything I've ever learned about witchcraft and chunked it the fuck out, I realized that we're witches. We can do magic at any point in time. Can we wait for specific points and times with the planetary, with the moon, the planets on the specific hours to invoke more of that? Yes, we can. But I'm chaotic as fuck. My entire life is organized chaos. I can find anything you need. It may take me 1 or 2 minutes, but I'm going to find it. To anybody else, it looks completely array and out of order. That's how I work. But yes, you can. And yes, I do. I also, there are certain moons where I will get most of my crystal collection and actually put them on the board that I have this right now and take them outside. But other than that, my ancestor candle exploded. A, did it get too hot? B, was there too many oils or herbs in it? And or was there air change? As in the room itself, was it really hot? And then say you accidentally turned on the AC, because that can also make candles explode. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. I'm going to be a little out of pocket today. Going to do solo margaritas till midnight. Oh, yes. I am currently partaking on some white wine. So. And yes, if y'all did not know that, I love white wine. I quit worrying about astral phases and whatnot. I do when it feels right. Yes, I love that. The only time I do specific workings on dates like that is the more once in a lifetime opportunities. So I said that on TikTok and somebody came at me, well, this is not a once in a lifetime opportunity. For one, you don't know how long you're going to be alive, so theoretically it is. But some of those dates, this October, you're going to want to keep an eye out on the moon. So this past new moon was known as a black moon. Basically, it's 2 new moons in one cycle, right? But we also had 3 other ones that made it a black moon. It was a rare moon phase. This October, on top of an eclipse that we're going to have, we are also going to have a true blue moon. And unless I get this mixed up, it's either 2 full moons in 1 lunar cycle or 2 new moons in 1 lunar cycle. But it is where that saying comes from, once in a blue moon. So they're going to be perfect times. But, and if you're into astrology, here's something that can also help. If you start to slowly learn astrology, there are certain days and even dates throughout the month that is actually extremely lucky for you and you only, and or say you and the rising sign. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're going to have a blue moon. So there's going to be 2 full moons in the month of October, and the second one, I believe, is going to be the blue moon. Basically, say for an example, I'm still trying to get on disability. It's one hell of a ride. That would be a perfect time to do it. It's one of those once in a lifetime chances to do it. Eclipses. Any eclipse that we have, ignore all the gurus on TikTok and social media. Manifest the fuck. Now, one thing you gotta know about eclipse energy is it is chaotic. And a lot of people will argue, well, eclipses are bad omens and da-da-da-da. Here's something now, before I say this, I respect all spiritual beliefs, right? I do. But here's something. I have ADHD, and my ADHD and my anxiety are fucking twins at this point, right? They work hand in hand, and a lot of the time not in my favor. So, if you were to research omens of owls, 9 times out of 10, especially if you're here, Turtle Island, America, you're going to get a lot of native beliefs. Most, not all, because what do I say? What do we say? Not all natives are the same, just like not all witches and not all Christians are the same, okay? A lot of those omens are bad luck. So I got it in my head that if I heard an owl hoot in a point in time of the day where it was not, you know, it's daytime, nocturnal, something bad was going to happen. What winds up happening is you become and you start to self-fulfill prophecies. So we live in Florida. I live around a lake. We have owls here. Trust me, nobody told me that the first time we lived here, and I thought a demon was coming to get me. I'm not even gonna lie. If you've never heard owls mate, it's an experience. But I got it in my head that every single time I heard that owl, something bad was going to happen. Henceforth, something bad always happened right after that. So, and I also did the same thing with Astromatrix. Astromatrix is an amazing app, but please do not get hyper fixated on it because you will wind up self-fulfilling prophecies. But it's how we feel. It's like when somebody says those moments, and we've all been there, where we wind up falling into that everything is a sign, everything is an omen. No, it's not. And if you go into life believing that, you are going to go down so many rabbit holes, it's not even funny. You'll know when a sign is a sign. With me, normally, I get chills. It's either a gut feeling, my intuition is like, bitch, this is happening, or I'll get chills. Now, true enough, I also learned that if you're randomly standing there and you get a shiver, that can also be caused by anxiety. Did not know that. But normally your spirit team will let you know if this is something. And again, bioregalism. Research and observe the animals around you. Okay? And I've said this story before, but if you're new here, and I am going to get back to the comments, I promise. And I learned this from Southern Cunning, an amazing book. But the example that they give in that book is, say I have an oak tree, or say I have a weeping willow, a willow in my yard, right? And blue jays, bluebirds nest there, right? So I do this spell, I contact this deity. We'll say I do a spell. I do a spell and I need a sign, right? Um, Somebody also mentioned lightning right after this because we had an experience today that's funny as fuck. But say I ask for a sign and then I walk outside with my morning cup of coffee or afternoon cup of coffee or midday cup of coffee, and I see two blue jays. Some spiritual people may be like, oh my god, there's my sign. But the logic person is they nest in that tree, so I'm going to see blue jays. Versus, actually, one of the last times I went live here, or no, on TikTok, I saw an alligator. Yes, we have alligators, but I don't see them often. So, bioregionalism is observing the natural animals around your specific area and their habits, what they do spring, summer, fall, winter. You're going to know what you normally see in your yard versus something very rare and spectacular that you don't normally see. We have bald eagles. I hear them a lot, but I don't always see them. So, say something major just happened, or I'm going through a rough spot, and I ask the universe, hey, I need a sign that everything's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, a fucking bald eagle lands and screeches and looks at me and then flies off. That is a sign that the universe heard me. But if it's something you see on a constant daily basis, it may not be a sign. Normally, with signs like that, you're going to get a feeling with it. And the lightning comment was, I checked the weather because it was kind of stormy here. So, is this hypnot? Wait. Okay, hold that thought. After the dinner we had, it's a tequila night. Oh, that sounds so good. No, it does not. Tequila is bad. No. I'm wine only. I don't really do liquor that much, but tequila sounds really good though. Blue moon is full moon. Astrology confuses me, but I'm trying to learn. Same. Astromatrix has slowly helped me learn. There's a lot of reading in it, but Astromatrix has slowly helped me learn. And I'm still looking for a book that is straight up astrologer for dummies because the math throws my brain all out of whack. As in, and I shouldn't have said for dummies, but astrology book that actually breaks it down to where I can understand it. Another YouTuber that I kind of had some issues with at one point in time, I hope I said this right, or I hope I said this right. I haven't said their name in a while. Bahate Life or Bihatat Life. I'll make a post on theirs. They're really great for astrologies. And some of their videos can teach you some things. But I've yet to find an astrologer that can break shit down for my brain to understand it. Southern Spiritual Mama is good too. I can say that. Sometimes dubs can sound similar to owls. Oh no, earlier I straight up heard the yeah. Daytime hoot, I was told it's an omen of death. Yep, same. If they hoot in the daytime, it's an omen of death, and or specifically if they do it 3 times in a row. And I had an experience earlier where I had a feeling to walk outside, and I walked outside, and straight up, there were 2 of them. And they were hooting enough to where the fucking neighbor's dogs lost their shit. So I was like, oh god. And then I had to stop myself, and I was like, no. That does not mean something bad is going to happen. That does not mean somebody is going to die. Maybe the owl just wanted you to be heard. Still working on that. You can feel it and it just know. Exactly. Is this hypnotizing? How new when I had a deity reaching out? I learned with coyote mating season was earlier this year. Let me tell you, the noises had me freaked out before I learned. Oh my god, same. The first time I heard coyotes in the mating, it freaked me the fuck out too. Here's 2 experiences. So when we first moved here, we have a slight wraparound porch. It stops right there. There's a door right there. So there's these little steps right here, right? So, and my partner never lets me live this down. It's so fucking funny. So, here in the area of Florida that I'm at, we have what are known as fox squirrels. They are bigger than an average squirrel, and their coloring is completely different. Some of them can be coal black, with a little red on them, right? And again, they are bigger than an average squirrel, but they're extremely elusive, and not much is known about them because they basically, when they spot a human, they will hide on a tree branch, but instead of just trying to blend in, they'll go to the top of it. Yes, they're huge. They'll go to the top of it so they, like, the people that are trying to research them can't even see them, right? So I heard something on the side of the house. Now, we had 3 cats at this point, but that was it. And most of them were inside because we were new to the property. I opened the door, and my neighbor has a outside light, so it lit up the yard a little bit. I open the door and I walk about 4 steps as in I'm out of the house and the door is shut. And I go to the screen door that opens up to the little porch that's got the steps that goes down on the side of the trailer. And all of a sudden I heard something and I saw something move. And then word for word, and what I saw, it looked like a fucking monkey or a lemur. The way it demonically, it did not look normal, and it jumped from ours over the fence and started running through the neighbor's yard. But the way that it was running would be like a ringtail lemur, like jumping from the tree and just hitting the ground, fucking running. We're assuming it is a fox squirrel because I've never seen it before after that. But it scared the shit out of me to the point where I almost started hyperventilating when I came back inside because the only thing that I could mention is, oh my God, I just saw a demon squirrel. Or I just saw a demon monkey. And my partner looked at me and he goes, we live in Florida. We don't have monkeys like that. And I was like, I don't give a shit what you say. I know what I saw. I'm assuming it's a fox squirrel because we have seen 1 or 2 of them since then. But it scared the shit out of me. And it wasn't a cat. It was not a cat. It was not a raccoon. It was too skinny. It was very, very skinny and very lengthy. It was very weird. Endangered species at will, at least. Yep, they are. Yes! Okay, so it may have been an actual fox squirrel. It scared the shit out of me, though. So, lightning thing. We left, and the passenger side door in our car, the window does not roll up, as in it's halfway down. So when it rains, it's not a fun day for me. And I have to cover it with trash bags. So the weather's been weird here where it looks like it was going to storm at any moment today, but it really hasn't. So I checked the weather app and I'm like, okay, nope, we're good. Where we're going, we're good. So we get there. Obviously, we ran into some rain, but that's okay. We got to see our donkey. We got to see Clucktopia. The turkeys are no longer there, but Clucktopia is, and the donkey was there. Oh my God, I just realized for the people that do not follow me on TikTok, y'all may be very confused. There's this place that we go past going into the town that we always go to where this, the owners have they have this giant, like, tiny house for chickens, on wheels, but it looks like a wagon kind of. And they have like fucking probably 50 to almost 100 chickens. So that's Clucktopia, or Clucktopia. And then there's this property that we pass where there's this lonely donkey. He's on this side, and then the opposite side, there's actually a pasture with other donkeys and cows. And this one particular donkey over here always looks sad as fuck. So it's become our serotonin of the day when we see him. And I always yell out magical donkey. But anyways, so we get there, we do our thing, we come back. And we come back, and we're loading stuff out of the car, a few bags, and fucking all of a sudden, it starts to thunder a little bit. And I look up at the sky, and I'm like, all right, look, if I get struck by lightning, I better have fucking magical powers or superpowers when we get through with this shit. Like, I ain't playing. Right after I said that, one single drop of water landed right here. So I'm like, all right. And then right after that, fucking lightning that sounded like a mixture of electricity or thunder, technically. That sounded like a mixture of a fucking gunshot and electricity, like, fucking popped off. And then about 2 seconds after that, it literally sounded like a gun just went. And then that was it. That was it. It literally nothing else. And my partner made a comment about it, about apparently you did piss somebody off. Also, interesting fact. Not that I'm an expert. So, you know how, thanks to the Marvel movies, Thor is known of electricity. He's not. Loki is the one that can control lightning. Not Thor. Thor is the one that can control thunder. Loki is the one that can control lightning. Interesting random fact there. Possibly, I don't know. It still shooketh me a little bit. It's called Rock and Glass. Okay. That's what I said. I just didn't use the same spelling. Sorry, I was reading a comment when I said, or the notification. I've been learning more about Native American beliefs, and they are strong believers. Comment. Where you go? Yes. No, stop making shit go away, phone. Strong believers, not like Hollywood version, of course. Oh, yeah. Definitely are on that one. And with that, I also wanted to state that if you are on TikTok, and you hear the whole debate about coyote bones, no. And let me to not reiterate more information. A younger person, I'm assuming he's like 19, 18. I don't really know his age. I just know he's young. Or they were young, which is ironically they follow me. But anyways, a native, I don't know the type or anything, a native, made a video, or more like a list, basically stating that the gist of it was anything that is specifically native to America or Turtle Island is in fact closed to only natives. And when I heard that, I was like, but you just grouped all natives together, but all right, here we go. The problem with this is Appalachia, folk magic, it's a mixing culture. It's a mixing cauldron. There's a lot of stuff that's mixed in together, but not on the terms of cultural appropriating. Not like colonizing, as in all of these people came together at certain points in times in history and they're like, you know what? I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing. Well, how about this? How about we swap it, right? So in Southern Conjure, we use coyote bones for multiple things, specifically the teeth for divinational kits. And I've had a lot of people be like, oh, well, I can't wear this, I can't wear that. So people did not fact check them, and then multiple other natives did. They actually called because he mentioned that he got his grandmother to come and basically be the elder. Here's the problem. The way that they view elders versus like how we do are different. It's a caste system almost. As in, yes, you can have an elder, it's your grandmother, but that's not the chief. That's not the main medicine person. That's not the main person that's over the council. Or I'm not an expert on this, so. But basically, the grandmother agreed. And then another native that lives in another state actually contacted them, and they're like, "Is this true? Like, because y'all work with coyote, is it true that it like nobody else can?" No, because you want me to tell you why? If you talk to a native outside of TikTok or social media, they're going to tell you the same thing, just like a shaman will. Minus using sage in the way that they use it, obviously. But how are they supposed to dictate things that nature gave them? Nature gave us. Such baloney. I feel like nothing should be closed. Exactly. Honestly, I do too, 100%. With me, when I started researching Southern Conjure, I had so many people come to, which I did used to say hoodoo, but I had so many people come to me and they're like, oh, well, you can't do this, you can't do that because of how you look. The way that I see that is the same thing with Appalachian folk magic. The reason it's being published is because the younger generations that are actually born and raised there aren't carrying it on, which means either A, it gets published, or B, it dies off. But with that, though, it comes respect, which y'all know this. It comes respect. So I can know this knowledge, but that doesn't mean I'm practicing it or implicating it in this. But the reason the native thing doesn't make sense, and people have verbally spoke this that are natives, they're like, I live in Alaska. We don't work with coyotes because we don't really have them up here. We may have wolves up here. We don't have coyotes up here. So it's stupid. White sage, if you can grow it yourself and you do not use it as smudging, but I will say there are over 1,000 species of sage. Specifically, the reason they stated it's the same conversation with Palo Santo. The reason that thing got started about Palo Santo being closed, it wasn't closed, it was endangered. But it wasn't Palo Santo as a whole. There's one specific genre species of Palo Santo that grows on one specific island, and it was being overly harvested to the point where they thought that it was basically going to go extinct because Palo Santo comes from a tree. Palo Santo in itself, unless you get it from that specific place, it's not. The same thing is with sage. But here's the issue with that, and here's the issue with the native thing. Okay, so I have the lavenderite necklace that I normally wear. I have to fix it because the little hook part came undone. But I bought it from a native worker, as in a family. They own a jewelry company and a silversmith, and they've been doing it for 70 years. They send sage, specifically white sage, out with all of their packages. And with the intent that I would burn it and cleanse the necklace. So, and then another example is if you were to buy a native shirt from a native with their symboling on it, and then you wear it online and somebody's like, oh, well, you're culture appropriate. You are helping that native. You are helping their family. You are helping their reservation if they are on one, because not all natives are on reservations. And it's just like if I were to go to an actual native website, and a lot of them do, and it in itself in their communities there is a debate about it, is, should they really be doing this? But it is a way to make sure they are making money. So you're helping them. But with the white sage, it's being overly harvested, basically pirated, and in some ways it is endangered. But if you were to ask a native, hey, can I buy seeds from you, bring it back to my place, and I grow it for personal use, they're going to look at you, and normally, they're going to say yes, just don't sell it. And the reason that is because if you grow that plant, you are helping that plant not become extinct. It's just not basically, they don't want you to buy it, start growing it, and then turn around and selling it, because that's taking away from them. Because sage, white sage, mountain sage, only grows in specific areas. But at the same time, if you look at humans and America's complex, Turtle Island's complex history, at some point in time, depending on when your ancestors got here, there is I'm not going to say a 98% because I don't know the percentage, but there's a very high percentage that in some way, shape, or form, there are natives in your bloodline. So therefore, I use culinary sage. When I do that or do things like that, I'm not trying to be them. I'm not trying to take that culture, but it is a way of honoring them. So again, if you joined my very first class, you know that there are things that I have in my practice that I do not show online because I would probably get canceled. Not to mention the whole modern warrior thing. Everybody hyped them up here, and then we all saw how that ended. Never idolize people. It always ends horribly. Have you done or have any content? Could you do Native American magic? No, I've not really done anything I've not really done that much on Native American magic because I myself don't know a lot about it. And the limited information I do have came from a deck. I think it's an oracle deck. It's the medicine wheel or the wheel of the year, but they use the medicine year. Also, I was told coyote is more of an archetype. Yep, it's an archetype because some people state that it's a trickster, but we also work with Loki. So it's an archetype. But I'm also of the belief that it's that complex thing where, okay, so like in hoodoo or in voodoo, notice I did not say voodoo, I said voodoo. In certain section, I'm going to say sectors of that, the only way that you can actually practice is if their spirits acknowledge you. I know somebody, I used to be with them, that is going through that initiation process because in the community, in that specific community, the elders in that community, this person has been recognized by their spirits. So it's the whole thing of like, because at one point in time, people are like, well, you can't work with Egyptian gods because they're closed. For one, as humans, why are we telling other humans what they can and cannot do with gods and goddesses? For two, what the fuck are we supposed to do when that god or goddess comes knocking on our door saying, hey, hello, yeah, you, yeah, come on. What are we supposed to do then? As long as it's respectful and as long as you don't stereotype anything, I don't see an issue with it. But again, I'm palm colored. That is until I get a DNA. I'm still going to be palm colored, but still, I want a DNA test so I can actually find out what is in me. What are the ingredients that make up me? My clearing my home preparation and cleaning is keep bushing all day. It's annoying. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, all of your candles are busting? My dad recently tracked us back to Cherokee Indians and have been wanting to connect with these ancestors. I had the same issue. I was told on both sides of my family that I had Cherokee in me, and what fucked me up the most was when I announced on TikTok that I am not native. I had so many people be like, wait, you're not native? I'm not going to claim that I'm native because I don't know, but I know I have native qualities. And I've seen my grandfather. My grandfather straight up looked like one. A Cherokee specifically. He looked like a Cherokee. But really quick, I'm going to refill this a little bit, and then I got to use the bathroom, and then I'm going to pull a few cards. And then I may go on for another 30 minutes. I may go off. I don't know. I'm having fun, so like, and just in case it does, because the sun is setting, if it gets a little bit too dark, I do have my ring light. But peace, RBRB. I'll be back. There we go. Boy. Hello, I'm back. Candle holders, glass, busting all day. Shit, I forgot my cup. There's so many questions I want to ask with that. Hold on. So, with the candle holders, I've even came back to our native land. I've been trying to figure out where to start. With the candle holders, are they on? What are they on? The reason I'm asking this, hopefully I'll be back before you're gone. I gotta run some errands. Okay, I hope you have fun. But normally with candle exploding, it means magically it means that there's a lot of energy going into it. Mundane wise, it could be a temperature change. It could be a manufacturing error in the glass. It could be that it's getting too hot and or above the actual temperature that the candle holder glass was supposed to be at. Or it could be a temperature change to where, like, say it got really, really hot and then all of a sudden there was a very cold breeze that came through. It can cause it to just shatter. Oh, okay. Well, that one I can't explain, except for you got some hella strong spiritual energy, as in like possibly ancestor spirit, things like that, to be able to break it. Okay, definitely got to double check that. Glasses on the top shelf. I can't reach it with the chair. Huh. Have you had any weird energy or in that area of your house? Because that's it's also interesting because it's the full moon. So on a spiritual level, spiritual activity can heighten on this point in time. Oh, okay. Has anything been found that's part of the battle or one of the battles and been brought in, and or has anything been disturbed lately? Because it could also be that. Now that I know that, that means there's a lot of spiritual energy there. So that basically that just took that tiny list and made it. It went from being tiny to there are multiple variants that could be causing that. Um, hmm. I'm also glad I don't live anywhere near that because I'd probably fuck a lot of things up. As in being curious. Like for an example, if you know for a fact that you have a lot of native energy on your property, watch burning dragon's blood because dragon's blood can irritate them or aggravate them in a way. So if you do use dragon's blood, you need to go back and use sweetgrass or like say not sandalwood, something very sweet or tobacco. Burn it right after that. That way it doesn't irritate them. Um, I'm using irritated in a very weird way, but it still makes sense. Or it fits what I'm trying to say. My father-in-law brought a silverware bullet. If that's been recent, more than likely, then there's something attached to that bullet, and or there's a spirit there that that bullet is very, very like largely upsetting. Yes, my energy tends to be chaotic as fuck on a full moon, but manifesting works great. Mine depends on the moon, and it may just because I'm becoming slightly more aware of like astrological things, but was it last night? No. Night before last, I don't know what the fuck was going on, but oh my god. Energy is very weird, but I also believe that I'm one of the witches that believe that the full moon has 3 nights. So tonight being the second night of the three. The first one would be yesterday, or yeah, last night, where it's at like 99 or like 98%. And then tonight, it's going to be 100% full. And then you have the next night where it's 99%. It's moving out of 100, going back down to 99, and it's waning. Um, that's cool you say that. I've been giving tobacco offerings to the creek that I live by. Oh, yeah, they love tobacco. I'm going with upset. I've had a drummer boy that is on the land, normally peaceful. Okay, then yeah, especially drummer boys were kind of there to do the drumming, but I say my head was like alert, so it could be, I'm assuming that that bullet is from the opposite side, and he's, for one, letting you know, hey, this is upsetting me, but it also could be he's trying to... Spirits, when they pass over, depending on how they pass, can be very confusing. And at one point in time, I used to believe it was just a small section of like residual, non-residual, the difference between those. One knows they're dead, the other one doesn't. But it can also be a mixture. It could be an echo where, like here in Florida, there's a lot of them where sandstone, up in the mountains too, sandstone can actually trap energy. But it also randomly releases that energy like a playback. Um, so there's a lot of things that can go into it. He normally just moves the candle out of the holder. Okay, then yeah, if he's shattering things now, that's basically he's trying to get your attention of saying something is extremely upsetting him. So if you possibly can, as a safe experiment, try, I don't know, getting the bullet and say putting it in a box, or putting, no, I'm not going to say putting salt around it, putting it in a box, a black box, and or wrapping it up in a black cloth. And if that goes away, if that type of activity goes away when that happens, then more than likely you found out what's triggering it. And I don't know where the spirit in the house, like where its reign is, or like where it goes to and where it doesn't. It's been put in a fish tank. Okay, so depending on the type of fish tank, if you have access to it, as in you could do something, basically what I'm trying to say, depending on where it's at, depending on what type of fish tank, try to look up weird term, or create one, like a neutralizing sigil or rune, to where that was creepy. That does not happen a lot, but all right. Email me if you will to firelotusthewitch@gmail.com. Because that one thing was weird. So the 70 gallon, okay, it's the square one is what I thought. If you can, if you can write it down on a physical piece of paper, that's great. Obviously, you're not going to be able to write it on the thing, but energetically, you can. You can use a crystal for this. You can use your finger. Your finger is technically going to be more potent. Create, find, or research a sigil or rune that basically neutralizes that specific energy. Since you know what physical object it is, like a bullet, you can work that into it, especially if you're creating it. And basically what I'm saying is neutralize the energy that the bullet is giving off without physically removing it. A sigil should be able to do that. Crystals, if you can get 4 crystals, you can theoretically do that as well, where you'd put like 4 crystals near it, not directly near it, say like up under it or next to whatever the hell it's on. And basically, I hate saying this term, set the intention to where it neutralizes that. And then test it. Test to see if that energy of the shattering, of saying an upset spirit, goes away. If it goes away, then that one object is what's upsetting it. If it don't, then it's got to be something else. That's how I look at things. And normally it works. Not always, but normally it does. And a lot of the times when people either A, get an uptick in spiritual energy, and or they get spiritual energy for the very first time, but like they do research and say it's not on a battlefield, normal property, no deaths, no nothing like that, 9 times out of 10 they brought an object inside. So for all my antiquers and thrift store people, cleanse your items before you bring them in. My partner brought home silverware, old silverware, and 2 toys, like child toys. They're old antiques, and it come to find out it was, yeah, there's a spirit connected. It currently lives out in a car that we have on our property. But I also have multiple haunted objects, so I need to do a tour of them. Anyways, let's see. I'm gonna draw 3 cards like I do. I want to know why this card keeps coming up. So, and it is getting darker than I thought it was. So, Halloween. This is the card, which is magic. That is Halloween, yes. Haha, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There we go. This is such a magical time with so much mystical energy currently surrounding you. This is ironic because this is a full moon. Take a minute and fully connect with it. Sometimes we get so caught up in everyday things that we forget to connect with our spiritual sides. Take this time to get back into your craft and dive deeper. Ooh. And then we have the toad. And the toad is starting to annoy me because this card is coming up time and time again. The toad. Are you aware of the energies that surround you? Well, that's ironic. It is time to take a look around and really see what's there before you. You need to confront any and all negative energies, both old and new. Awaken yourself and be more mindful of your environment. There is so much happening around you all the time. Take some notice of the synchronicities within your world. And then we have the witch's rope. Protection. Yes. My neighbor's outside. Yay, he can hear me. The witch's rope entangles you with strength and protection. Know that you are safe. If you are offered a piece of this rope, accept this gift, for there is no need to worry. You are protected from any and all evils that may disrupt your path. Do some protection work for yourself and those close to you. Oh, I love this deck. But, with that being said, I am going to go ahead and go. Because I got to prep dinner and I did not realize what time it was. Oh, that's cool. So would you try to figure out what object was tied to it? Yes, that is normally what I would do. I would try to figure out the object that's tied to it, and then there are multiple other things you can do with that. You can try to connect with the spirits. I would not do that unless you are used to connecting with spiritual energy, because there could be a trickster or hot spirit or negative spirit. And you don't want to connect with that. But basically try some type of communication and or connection to actually see why it's upset, what's happening. If you cannot try to resolve that issue, then I would remove it. You could cleanse it, or what some people would call an exorcist. Depending on how you do, you can try to help the spirit move on. That's another way that you'd be able to keep the object, but not necessarily have to deal with the haunting. Depending on the emotional attachment or the specific connection between the object and the spirit, depending on how much is there. I like to say emotion because to the mind, like if like a necklace of yours that you wear constantly, see what I'm saying? How much emotional attachment is there between the object and the spirit? Things like that. But after that, after you find the object, there are multiple things that you can do to look into to actually see if you can A, resolve it, B, try to get the spirit to pass on, or cleanse it and or get rid of the object. So, but there are also certain protections that you can do, but some people don't like the idea of having a haunted object with the spirit limited to where it can actually go to. So, and it also depends on what you believe, because some people may hear that and they're like, you can't control a human spirit. And to that, I have to say, control, no. In body, or I don't want to say trap, but yes, you can. Um, you can use crystals to entrap a spirit, or contain a spirit, depending on the crystal and depending on the spirit. Um, you can also create a spirit house, but that's not trapping it. That's literally a physical object. Not only is it a physical object that is physical but also spiritual, it's also a home for the spirit or ancestor, a home for them, but also it's that middle ground to where the spirit can kind of hang out in there while you also connect to it. So it's basically a brain work. It's a tether. I almost said anchor. No, it's not an anchor. It's a tether. It tethers the in between together. One of the meeting spaces. The same reason we cast magical circles is not only for protection, as above, so below. It's also creating an in between, a lineature. There we go. I think I said that right. A lineature space. A space within between the spaces, a space out of time, out of the physical world, but also out of the spiritual world, but also both connected. That is literally one of the only reasons you create a magical space and or a circle or square box, whatever you use in your magical practice. That's why you're creating a safe, protective in between, but also connecting them at the same time. So, but yeah, uh, that's gonna be this. And if you're new here, hi, hello, Fire Lotus the Witch. You can email me, firelotusthewitch@gmail.com. The link tree listed with this, you can find my photography, all of my other socials, my podcast, and Discord. 18 plus, but it, it's amazing there. It has been kind of slow, as in I'm not very active, and also a lot of other shit's been going on. But in general, there are so many places that you can find, so many resources you can find in there. And yeah, thank you so much. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, like, all that. Share this to a friend. Now, another thing, because some people are not used to it. As soon as I hit the X over here, it basically may push you out of the video, and then you may go back and it say something's wrong. It's because the video is privated until I can put all the links and stuff, and then I'll basically make it public, and it'll be a live video. um, but yeah, like I said, Linktree. I have a Facebook, an Instagram. I have 2 TikToks, a podcast, YouTube, obviously. And yeah, if you ever have a question, you want a reading, spell work done, magical consultation, spiritual advisory, anything like that, email me. If you have an experience you would like to share, email me. And I need to advertise it more. If you ever have anything you want me to read on the podcast or talk about on the podcast, write it in, email me. If you do, let me know if it's okay to read online or just talk about it without, no personal details or anything. But yeah, until then, happy full moon. It is the full moon. If you can't do anything now or tonight, you can do it tomorrow and tomorrow morning, afternoon, tomorrow night, tomorrow as a whole. You can do it then. But yeah, until then, I'll talk to you later. Peace.